Happy holidays from your boy down here at the studio. And I thought I would talk a little bit about the year in review. It is Christmas Eve, or if you're in Australia or New Zealand, it is Christmas morning. So happy holidays and Merry Christmas to you guys. And thank you so much for watching Team Ez TV. This year was an interesting year because kind of stepped out of my comfort zone and stopped racing the non-wing car. And I have this phone full of people to drive for in the non-wing car, but the list of people in the wing car is very short. And, this is when I race, that's when I make my money. That's how I make my money, and I have to race. And so, thanks to Don Whitney, I got to run the wing car, and Tim, I had the midget ride all year. So, there's 30 races guaranteed, but talk about a pay cut. But, getting out of your comfort zone is part of growing. And, I'd been doing the non-wing thing for a while, and everything was so close and local for me. It was cheap and everything. So now with the wing car, it's a little bit more travel, but I'm racing a little bit less and making a little bit more. And I'm picking up some rides, and we continued to do development on the Ford. We had a really good year, and you pretty much just have to go race the thing in order to log data. Okay, so we went and raced the thing a bunch, and we kind of found that the thing was always wanting to be just on the chip, and almost it was a window of gear bound and on the chip. It's because the thing pulled so hard at the top, and it would run me down into the corner so hard that I finally, I needed to get the power moved down, and so that it was almost not exploding me into the corner. When you make a bunch of horsepower with the wing car, a lot of the times that's kind of the struggle is it makes such big power on the top end that you can't tame it at the end of the straightaway because it's just trying to come apart. It's so then you're rolling out of the pedal and you're catching it and everything. And after racing the Ford for some time, we kind of realized like we needed to change the cam, but Tim's developing everything on these things. So, and the cam was one of the hardest things to come up with, as he said before. So they developed a new cam. We got a new cam in it for the indoor race, and the thing ran amazing. And so going to Chili Bowl, super pumped because that thing was ripping. I got myself a little excited, bang the curb and turn the thing over. But, running the curb on entry is like one of the keys to making big speed. I was just trying to win it, and we ended up turning it over. So just when I thought my year was going to be kind of lame, I end up going to England and running the British stock car. They made me a little Hot Wheel of it. I won a little trophy from Skeg Vegas, and got to see London and cruise around. Took Madeline. It was an amazing experience. Gained a bunch of fans. So if you're from England, thank you so much for joining the show. And then got invited to Australia to run that Adelaide 500 race. And honestly, like that is, Brett called me yesterday asking me if I wanted to go to the Classic. Yes, I want to go to the Classic, but I can't this year because of family stuff, and it's right after Chili Bowl. And I just have a lot going on, but man, that is really exciting. Those guys had a lot of fun racing, and they're pumped to get me back down there. So I'm going to be back there, I'm guessing, in 2025, like in March. Had an amazing time in Adelaide. Brett and Keith and Joe and everybody involved over there was just, so kind and amazing to deal with. And Brett had a really nice hot rod, so I'm excited to continue on with my wing stuff. Then we end up back in New Zealand. Everybody over at New Zealand has been so amazing to me, and I love the country. And honestly, like I've spent my whole life chasing racing and didn't really chase beach vacation. So I feel like I kind of get both with, going to New Zealand. So thank you so much to everybody that makes that possible. Because I love it down there, and I have a lot of fun, and I get to race. What do I actually have going on this year? Well, we're going to run with Tim, with the Midget, Extreme, USAC, some Power Eye, And, back in the Dub Zero with Don Whitney, he's working on another motor, and we're hoping to do like that Power Eye, Honest Abe roofing deal, maybe some all-star races. The all-stars are back, so we got that. And yeah, I know, not high limit, not necessarily the Outlaws, but baby steps. And if we had a nice little sponsor, maybe we could go do that stuff. But I'm still working on Alan Verfeel. I should have called him and Kayleen and seen what they really want to do for this year. They ran last year at Knoxville for points, and I'm honestly hoping that goes through, because other than the Brett Smith in Australia, like Kenny Pope said we needed to talk, but I also talked to his son, and he said he was going to start running the 410, so that didn't sound amazing. But I did call Mike Hefner. He's got a second car that Kurt Michaels prepares, and I had talked to Kurt. Kurt was on board, but he said I had to call the boss, so I called Mike Hefner, and really he said he wants to go racing where he knows he can win 10 shows a year. It costs a lot of money to go run 50 shows, and he has all the equipment, and he's got a couple guys that want to go do it, but he said to want to go to the racetrack knowing we're not going to win, but a couple races is not very enticing for him. So I either needed to bring money or I needed to bring my A game. I told him I was flexible on dates, and he didn't say no. He didn't have a driver yet, so we're still working that avenue. But it's always a money thing, honestly. Like, I could go racing with Don Whitney probably a lot more if we scored $100,000 sponsorship, Boom. We go buy a brand new Kistler for $50,000. We go race on the other 50. We run 30 shows. We have new tires. Everybody's happy. But this wing deal's tough, and you got to have a big check, So, and if you're interested, man, my channel does really good. The views are up. Thanks to you guys, man, the views are up. On average, I have 40,000 returning viewers, which is amazing. It does over 1 million minutes a month of watch time, which is crazy. I never thought it would get to this. So thank you so much for watching the channel and joining me on my journey of racing. So yeah, how do you get rides as a driver? Ultimately, contacts and talking to people, ask Bernie if he knows anybody down at Indy Race Parts, ask Tim if he's heard anything, but ultimately you have to be a squeaky wheel. And so I'm up here trying to squeak over here so somebody gets me in a really good ride and I can go live my best life, get cameras on the car, and do my thing. Speaking of my own thing, I've been wanting for a long time to design this Racer X steering wheel up here that I got, because I hold the wheel like this. So if you don't get the steering wheel on correctly, it's off like this, and then I'm just like, the spoke kind of messes with me, okay? So this is OG. I've had this forever. And, back in the day, a Schroeder, that's kind of what you had. They got good grip, they got nubs, and that's what everybody used, or a Sweet. So then it went to, get you a Butler that's kind of thick and whatever, and then that wasn't good enough, so you got a Joe's or whatever. But this is my big wheel, you can see. This thing, I can fold this thing like a taco because it's so light, okay? This thing is seriously, like, so light, flimsy, and weak. So then Josh Shaw is making these old school Roadster wheels, okay? And this thing is an OG, raced around the Indy 500 Speedway on bricks. And so he redesigned this old school Roadster wheel. And I love steering wheels. As you can see, I have a lot of them. And so he like messages me, is like, hey, you want to try one? So I actually order one and I buy one. This is number 37, okay? And I go run this thing. I actually won with this wheel in Pennsylvania, I believe. It might have been, I don't know. Anyways, so I kind of fell in love with this wheel because, I can't even see you. Kind of fell in love with this wheel because, look, My hands are right in the middle. If I'm off a click, boom, I'm off a click. It doesn't really matter, okay? But this wheel is big. Big old Roadster steering wheel. My favorite wheel of the bunch, probably. And I always thought, like Sparco has like a one spoke across the center. I always thought, well, that'd be kind of cool. You'd have all this open room. So I love watching Speed Racer when I was a kid. Racer X is a little spin-off of Speed Racer and Racer X. The Racer X wheels, designed by me, built by Superior. We got a couple different sizes, but look at all the room you have here on this thing. So this one's yellow, 1.25 inch diameter, so it's a little thickness. This one here is actually inch diameter. So I'll be using this one at Chili Bowl probably. You can get custom colors. Superior steering wheel builds them for me. I really need to get them on my shopteamez.com, my shirt website, and even get my shirts on my YouTube linked down below. But I'm not that good with all that stuff, and so I haven't done that. I'm trying to get Madeline to work on that and help me, make this whole thing a little bit more efficient. Inch diameter, 1.25 inches. We got a couple different colors. I'm bringing like 6 or 8 of them to Chili Bowl so we can sell them down there. But yeah, pretty pumped with these. First year with them. Really love them. And the grip, honestly, is where it's at. It's got so much grip, and with your gloves just stick to it. And you don't want to be holding the wheel really tight. You want to be barely holding the wheels, so the spokes don't break your hand if you crash. And really being, light like a feather is part of it. You want your belts tight. You want your hands to not be death gripping the steering wheel so it kind of floats. And you want to just be like nimble, So being comfortable in the car, having a good seat, having your spring on your throttle pedal be choice is money, Like, I feel like that's the difference between me doing good work and not doing good work sometimes. So get yourself comfortable, and man, I hope you guys are having an absolute amazing Christmas and holidays. Happy holidays from your boy Teamez. Thank you so much for watching the channel. This has changed my life. This has really changed my life. It's changed the way I think, but it's also changed my life. Oh, I forgot to tell you about my brand new shirt. Here it is. I'll put the link up right here. Brand new shirt for Chili Bowl. I ordered like 400 of them, maybe 500 with the hoodies. If you're interested, go check out shopteamez.com. Thanks again.